doing this, I realized the incredible bravery that it takes to be completely honest and then not to create another myth out of your life. So I want to talk about the first time I really kissed a guy. His name was Lee Hudson. We were both dancing. It must have been around the time we were doing. Norbert Wiesack was setting Carnival for really the only ballet company or dance company in Vancouver, which was run by the Vancouver Ballet Society, I think. A bunch of old women, I can't stand them. Couldn't stand them then, can't stand them now. Uh, uh, Pushy, kind of arrogant. They thought they knew better than everybody, but they all had a lot of money and they made it happen. Anyway, there was only a few dancers. Reed Anderson, Lee, myself, and Murray Kilgore were the four decent dancers in Vancouver. And Lee was, I don't know, we met at rehearsals, I think. He studied with a teacher in Burnaby somewhere, I'm not sure. Anyway, in those times, the regular routine was you had a girlfriend, you went to the drive-in, you sat in the back seat, and your cousin was in the front, and you made out with the girls for a couple hours during the movies until your lips were raw, and then you went home and stayed overnight with a friend, and you'd both you'd jerk off together, and that's what people did. Couldn't have sex with the girls. So I went to Lee invited me out to his house to spend. He lived in Surrey. He invited me out to his house, and I thought it was going to be the regular routine. We go to a party, find some girls, make out, and go home and jerk off together. Lee was different. Lee knew what he was doing. And I'll never forget when he, lying beside me, he leaned over and kissed me. And in that moment, I knew this was everything that I ever wanted. It was just electrifying. And from that moment on, I knew who I was, really. I fought it and went against it and all that. It's funny, Lee ended up going to, I think, the Royal Winnipeg Ballet, and then he ended up in Munich, and now he runs a dance supply shop in Santa Rosa, California. He was with a guy raising llamas or something. He's apparently turned into a crotchety old bastard, but that happens to a lot of us. So anyway, that's the first story, but that whole time was very interesting. Especially the Carnival. We did that at the Playhouse. At the same time, Joan Sutherland was doing Norma in the big theater, and we could run back and forth. There's a door at the back of the Queen Elizabeth that gets you into the Playhouse, so you can scoot back and forth. And I used to come and watch Joan Sutherland. She kind of took a liking to me, and I would go down there on days when we weren't having rehearsals, but the backstage course guys, they didn't know what the hell was going on. And I'd go in and it was when I really discovered the power of voice and the power of a diva. And Norma, Joan saw me there at rehearsals, and she invited me to rehearsals over in the old Armory when they used to rehearse over there. And oh my God, this is the first time I'd been around a real diva. Boy, that girl had a mouth on her. She laid into a singer one time that came unprepared. That I would have just died on the spot. I never would have come back into theater again. But anyway, that's part of the life, isn't it? So that's the story of the first boy, Lee Hudson. He was beautiful. We met again later on. We had a New Year's Eve together when his mother, but I was with somebody else at the time, and so nothing happened, and I don't know, it's just one of those things. Anyway, cheers to Lee. Thank you. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about Lee Hudson, the first dancer I was with. And we'd met at Vancouver Ballet Society rehearsals, and then I spent a weekend out there. And the next time I saw him, I was just getting involved with this French, well, she was German, pretending to be French existentialist, Sorbonne, but she was actually a German girl. She's kind of, in her mind, she had decided that she was a Jewish refugee from France. And she had a thick French accent, but I eventually saw her birth certificate. Her name was Rosrita, whatever. Poor thing. I just was starting to get to know her. She'd seduced me, and we were having great sex and all that. You know, when you're 20 years old, as long as it's moving and moaning, it's good to go. And we had a little place on Butte Street near Davie, a little room, horrible little ratty place. I think the old house is still there, full of drug addicts, but whatever. And Lee had called and wanted to see me, and he was going to UBC at the time, and he came to see me, and I was so confused because I wanted to go with him, but I couldn't. And I remember sitting in the car, and I was crying, and I went back and tried to kill myself. I thought, God, this is awful. He's what I really wanted, and I was going with this other one. We eventually got married, and she got pregnant, and then we got an abortion because I don't think I was probably not the father, although who knows how many guys. She was even sleeping with my little brother. Anyway, that was that. Then I saw Lee a long time. Every time I saw Lee, he was either with somebody or I was with somebody. I saw him once in San Francisco, and he was living in this beautiful Architectural Digest house with another guy that I never met, and they let him stay there. But I was with somebody, and so that nothing happened there. And then I saw him again when he was in Munich. He was with the ballet there. He went to the Winnipeg, and then from there to Germany. And thank God he got out of university. That's no path for somebody that wants to dance, go to university. Just go dance. Now, you can do university when you're older. And I saw him in Munich, and then he had a guy, and I didn't have anybody, and it was awful. And then last time I saw him, it was back in Vancouver. I was a stockbroker then, so I must have been about 26. And he'd come up to Vancouver to see his mother, who lived in Seashell. And we went out on New Year's Eve, and I was with somebody, and he was with his mother, but he stayed overnight, and I think we actually did something that night. I can't remember. I had a place in Kitts right near the water. It was beautiful. A 2-bedroom, about 2 blocks near Alma, 2nd and Alma. Great neighborhood. And I was a stockbroker then, making lots of money and all that. I remember we went out for New Year's Eve dinner at this restaurant. It was New Year's Eve, and it was a great dinner. We had everything. The whole, for him, his mother, and Brad Goff, the guy I was going with, and we had this great dinner. And we walked back. We were going back to the car, and I said, "I wanted to thank you for getting the dinner. You didn't have to. I was going to get it." And she said, "I didn't get it. We just did a dine and dash." And we were all drunk, and we just said to hell with it, and we left it. I still feel bad, but the restaurant went bankrupt eventually. It was under the Broad Street Bridge. Anyway, that's the story of Lee. And then he kind of turned into a curmudgeon, and last I heard of him, he was running a dance supply store in Santa Rosa, California. And all the reviews on Yelp are really bad, that he's really bitchy and crabby and tells people to get lost. So anyway, that's Lee. Anyway, cheers, Lee. I'll probably never see you again, but you're not forgotten.